beginning of our sessions and our curriculum, as the main point here is to identify and to recognize the life of the four imams and to know how the four madhahib had existed. And not only this, to study their life. And alhamdulillah, as we started our journey with Imam Abu Hanifa, and then we moved to Imam Malik, then alhamdulillah, we came today to talk about the life of Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. And alhamdulillah, the main purpose of these sessions that we know the life of each imam. And not only this, we try to get closer to his methodology, to his strategy, how he used to extract the Islamic rule or the Islamic law. And not only this, why exactly people nowadays are considering their point of view as their own madhab. What is so special on those people to recognize them as our imams nowadays? And also one of the benefits that we can get from studying the life of the four imams, that we get to know closer that they weren't extreme in their way of thinking. And that tells us that we shouldn't be extreme. We should have that flexibility when we think about the madhahib. And that is one of the points that, you know, we were raised up on such a way that that's your madhab, you should stick with that. But we came to the conclusion, alhamdulillah, when we got the knowledge that the imams, somehow they were attached to each other's. They learned from each other's, they praised each other's, they corrected sometimes each other's, and they were students of each other's. They learned, as we get to know that Imam Abu Hanifa had studied with Imam Malik. Imam Malik was the teacher of Imam Al-Shafi'i, and Imam Al-Shafi'i was the teacher of Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal, and lots of things. And we are going to learn also today that Imam Al-Shafi'i had traveled to Baghdad, especially to get the knowledge of Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani. Did you hear this name before? Yes, who is Imam Al-Shaybani? The student of Imam Abu Hanifa. So with Al-Qadi Abu Yusuf. So Imam Al-Shafi'i had traveled especially to get the knowledge of Imam Abu Hanifa through his student. Lots of things we know. Wallahi, I feel sad when I see lots of Muslims nowadays, they don't have this knowledge and they are so extreme, and they feel like furious if you told them you need to have this flexibility in Salat al-Taraweeh or in a certain issue in Ramadan, or even for Zakah, whatever Eid, Salah is, you know, they feel like they worship that madhab, or they follow that madhab or that person even more than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The imams didn't want that to happen. The imams just had their own opinion, and we follow them with all respect. But sometimes if we wanted to shift from one opinion to other, we should have this flexibility. That's not religion by itself. The madhab itself is not a religion. It is a point of view in our religion, and it is one of many, not even four. We have many of the scholars and those who give their opinions. That's why we should have this flexibility and that understanding for our religion and for the knowledge itself. And subhanallah, you might have an imam who give that opinion specifically because he didn't have that much of evidence during his time, as we saw with Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, that he didn't have that much of a hadith as Imam Malik had, for example. But when Imam Malik had his Muwatta, you know, you remember Al-Muwatta, the main book of Imam Malik, and he collected the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Even Imam Abu Hanifa himself, when he had a special meeting with Imam Malik in Mecca while he was, you know, we said that he escaped from the Khalifa from Baghdad to Mecca, and he stayed there almost like 17 months. And during that time, he came and he used to be in discussions with Imam Malik, even with the points of view, they changed some of them because of showing them the ahadith and the evidence. That's the flexibility that they had. And both of them praised each other's out of respect, out of love. Imam Abu Hanifa said, now I came to the man of the hadith. He is the best of people in the hadith in my time. And Imam Malik had praised Imam Abu Hanifa, and he said he's so intelligent, he's so genius. If he wanted to convince you that this pillar, which is made of rock, if he wanted to convince you that it is made out of gold, he would convince you. Lots of things we need to learn, inshallah. So let's jump to our topic for tonight. We will talk about Imam Al-Shafi'i. And Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, we are going to have kind of introduction tonight, inshallah, about him, to know his name, his lineage, to know where did he born. Lots of things about Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah. First of all, what is his name? What is his, let's say, his full name? His name is Muhammad ibn Idris. Muhammad ibn Idris. Muhammad, that's the son of Idris. So his father's name, Idris. And his grandfather is Shafi'. That's why we call him Shafi'i. Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. So Muhammad ibn Idris ibn Shafi'. And then his lineage, his tribe, originally Al-Muttalib, Al-Qurashi, Al-Hashimi. So they said that he is Muttalibi. Muttalibi means he is related to Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Imam Al-Shafi'i is from the same lineage of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And even he was from the same tribe, which is Quraysh. And before we start, I just wanted to tell you something. One of the ahadith that Al-Imam Ahmad, the student of Imam Al-Shafi'i, had narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, one day he said, there will be a alim, there will be a scholar from Quraysh, يَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضَ عِلْمًا. He will fill out the earth with his knowledge. So the ulama, the scholars, had the unanimous consensus that this meant to be Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave the prophecy that Imam Al-Shafi'i will come, and he called him Alimu Quraysh. Do you remember what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about Imam Malik? He said Alimu Al-Madinah. He said Alimu Al-Madinah. يخرج عليكم عالم المدينة. So Alim al-Madinah, that is meant by Imam Malik. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave the prophecy of Imam Al-Shafi'i, and he said, Alimu Quraysh yamla'u al-arda ilma. He will have that vast knowledge that it will encompass everywhere, every space on earth. That is Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. And there is something in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It is authentic hadith about that we have this ummah. That is one of the things that Allah had granted this ummah, and it will remain till the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe it will be the first time you hear about this. There is something, it is called in the Sharia Al-Imam Al-Mujaddid. Al-Imam Al-Mujaddid means the revival, the one who revives this religion. As Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in the authentic hadith, على رأس مئة كل عام، على رأس مئة عام يبعث الله لهذه الأمة من يجدد لها أمر دينها. Every century, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send somebody he will be called the revival of the century. He will be, Allah will cause him or will make him as a reason for that religion to be revived again. So it is called Al-Imam Al-Mujaddid. The scholars gave that title to Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i, that he is the revival or the scholar, the revival of the century, the one that Allah had sent him to this ummah to revive the religion. So now we had two ahadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam applied to Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, Muhammad ibn Idris ibn Shafi' al-Muttalibi al-Qurashi, means he is from Quraysh, and one of his titles, Alimu Quraysh or Imamu Quraysh, the Imam of Quraysh. That is one of his titles, Imamu Quraysh. So Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i, you remember we said that he was born at the same year that Imam Abu Hanifa had died. 150, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. 150. That's when Imam Al-Shafi'i was born. He born at the same year that Imam Abu Hanifa had passed away. And he died 204 Hijri. That means he lived 54 years. And not only this, he had that journey. And you know, of course, he died in Egypt and he buried in Egypt. He had very special, till today, very special place that we call, and they built masjid next, or now it is the grave inside the masjid. So it is called Masjid al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. Masjid al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. It is called that name. The name of the masjid is Masjid al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. It is in Cairo. You can visit it. You know, it's a very famous place. Even the area, they call it the area of Al-Shafi'i. Okay? So he had all the area named after him. Even the masjid, even the area, the streets. You know, if somebody told you, where did you come from? You will say, I came from Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. Okay, I came from the area of Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. It's very famous, and we are going, inshallah, to learn his journey. But let me tell you, where did he born? He born in Gaza. He born in Gaza, in Palestine. In the city, very famous city, was named as Asqalan. Asqalan was part of Gaza, because Gaza was very, very big. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liberate Palestine. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabb al-Alameen. And liberate Gaza. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the victory for our brothers and sisters, for our ummah. May Allah send somebody to revive this ummah again. Allahumma ameen. And to grant the victory for Palestine and the people of Palestine and the people of Gaza. May Allah support them. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabb al-Alameen. So Imam Al-Shafi'i was born in Gaza, and his father, what's the name of his father? Idris. Okay, don't miss the names, please, okay? Idris, that's the name of father. So Imam Al-Shafi'i, his father Idris, passed away when Imam Al-Shafi'i was 1 year and a half. 1 year and a half. But you know, you remember, he's originally from Mecca, Qurashi Muttalibi. Okay, so he is originally the tribe, the family, his relatives, all of them in Mecca. So his mother, what's the name of the mother? Fatima al-Asdi. Fatima al-Asdi. Yes, she also originally from Mecca. So both of them, the father and the mother, were from Mecca. So when the father passed away, she decided, when Imam Al-Shafi'i was at the age 2 years, she took him and she traveled to Mecca to be next to her relatives and to the family members. And at that time, I just wanted to tell you some of the characteristics of Imam Al-Shafi'i. Imam Al-Shafi'i, whatever, inshallah, we are going to tell you about him, it will blow your mind. You wouldn't believe it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created him with such talents and gifts that it's very rare to find nowadays. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wasn't as like normal kid. He wasn't normal kid. He was so intelligent. He was so genius. And when you study his life, you will get to know that he did many of things in very young age that you wouldn't believe. Subhanallah. So his mother, when they reached Mecca, his mother is telling that he asked her, Mom, why did you bring us here? Why? She said, because I wanted you to get the knowledge. Do not be busy with anything except seeking the knowledge. That's Imam Al-Shafi'i's mother. That's his mother. She has that, zeal to teach her child and to let him be a seeker of knowledge. Imam Al-Shafi'i stayed in Mecca and he was very close to Al-Haram. He used to pray in Al-Kaaba. Look at the environment. And he was surrounded by lots of the imams and the scholars and people of hadith. I told you at that time, and alhamdulillah till today, Mecca was the center of knowledge, like many places at that time, like Baghdad, like Al-Basra. Also, you have Egypt, at that time was the center of knowledge. So every place from those major places, they had scholars, they had imams. But you know what? They were very poor. They had very bad condition in life. They didn't have money at all. And Imam Al-Shafi'i didn't have money to give to the teacher, to spend on himself. To the point that he used to go to the halaqah, and because he does not pay, they didn't pay him attention, So he went to complain to his mother. He said, it seems like I'm not there. They are neglecting me because I'm not paying any money. She said, don't worry. Listen to the kids. Listen to the teacher while he is teaching other kids. At that time, Imam Al-Shafi'i used to listen. He didn't participate as a regular student, just listening to the teacher while he is teaching somebody else. And during the break of the teacher, the imam or the sheikh or the scholar, he used to come to teach his colleagues. And he was like unofficial teacher during the break time. And the teacher, he noticed that, mashallah, his students are doing much better than before. And he wanted to take the credit for himself. And he discovered that there is someone like assistant, unofficial teacher is helping. And when he discovered that, he offered Imam Al-Shafi'i, when he was young, to be his assistant. And he accepted not to pay. And he started to give him more attention in his class. And you know what? Imam Shafi'i, from a very young age, 4 years old, started to memorize Quran. He finished memorizing Quran when he was 6 years and a half. I told you everything about Imam Shafi'i, in very young age. We will get to know that he used to be bored in the classes because he didn't have anything to do, He already mastered everything. At that time, his mother sent him to a certain tribe It is called Hudayl. Hudayl. Ha, Dal, Ya, Lam. Hudayl. And she sent him to that tribe in Mecca. It is called Hudayl. And why Hudayl specifically? Because this tribe has the most pure Arabic language. They were so eloquent in the Arabic language. He studied the grammar, he studied the literature, he studied how to talk, how to master the language. They were the what we call it, one of Butunul Arab. Butunul Arab means those people who mastered the language and its power and its eloquency to the point that they used to write poems. Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he learned how to write poems. He was a poet, sha'ir. Imam Al-Shafi'i was sha'ir. And even afterwards, whenever he used to have dars or lecture in Mecca, in Al-Kaaba, in the Masjid Al-Haram, even those who weren't religious, they used to come to listen to his lecture. And they used to ask them, why you are not specialists in the hadith? Why did you come? They used to say, we came only to learn Arabic and to learn the language from Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah. Imam Al-Shafi'i mastered the Arabic as a language, as a grammar, as literature. He mastered mostly everything in the Arabic. And not only this, he was not only a scholar of fiqh, he was the scholar in hadith. He mastered the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I told you, whatever he touches, whatever he goes through, whatever he, even with the things that you think, you know, he is a kid and he just plays. He mastered horse riding. He mastered throwing arrows. He himself said about himself, I used to score 10 out of 10 in throwing arrows. That's Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. He was so intelligent. So what was his age when he memorized the entire Quran? 6.5. Some narration said 7, but the most authentic one, 6.5. And you know what? He should stop. He should say that that's enough. I memorized Quran. No, he memorized Al-Muwatta of Imam Malik when he was 9 years old. He memorized the entire Muwatta when he was 9 years old. And listen, the Muwatta, 3,069 hadith. And listen to this. He didn't have money. You know what? His mother, and that tells you poverty cannot stop you from achieving your goals. That's not an excuse. Subhanallah. And it's also another lesson for us that the ilm, the knowledge, the Quran, that raises the status of the one who keeps busy with studying Quran. Wallahi, that's a reality. That's a reality. Alaykum salam. So here's the case. Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, his mother couldn't find money to buy sheets, paper for him, or ink to write down his lessons. She used to go to the dumpster to collect what remained from the leather, from the skin of the camels, some big bones, to write down on the bones, on the skin, on the sheets, whatever remained, even from the wasted paper of the government at that time. She used to collect, and even she used to knock the doors for the seniors and masters to tell them, can you spare some of the ink for my son? Look at how much poverty they had. And Imam Al-Shafi'i himself said, I used to stay all the day seeking the knowledge, and when I come at night, the everyday question for me and my mom, what Allah is going to send us today to eat. They didn't have anything. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day used to send them the rizq. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, whatever comes, I used to split it between me and my mother. He had that very good connection with his mother, because he and his mother, that's it. His mother told him when he was young, listen, I took an oath that I would not remarry just because of you. I want to focus on you. That's his mother, Fatima, rahimahullah. Look at how much they struggled in their life. And listen, how did he memorize Al-Muwatta? I told you he didn't have money, so he couldn't buy some of the sheets to write down the Muwatta, or to memorize, or to buy Al-Muwatta, or to get any of these copies of Al-Muwatta. So he told one of his colleagues, can you please lend me, can I borrow Al-Muwatta from you for a couple of days? And he took Al-Muwatta from that colleague, and he memorized 3,069 hadith in 9 days. 9 days. He mastered Al-Muwatta. And he didn't make any mistake in the Muwatta. He got examined by lots of scholars during his time. This is Imam Al-Shafi'i. So 2 years old came to Mecca, 7 years old or 6.5 memorized Quran, 9 years old memorized Al-Muwatta, and he started to join the classes of the sheikhs. And at that time, when he reached during that time, he is learning from the tribe. Do you still remember the name of the tribe? Hudayl, Allahu Akbar. Hudayl, that's the name of the tribe. He memorized and he learned lots of things about the language, and mashallah, he was so genius. He was intelligent. He had that, as we mentioned yesterday, that photographic memory. You know, whatever he sees, he memorizes, subhanallah. And Imam Al-Shafi'i, he stayed in Mecca, in the Haram, learning, till the point when he reached, listen to this, 12 years old, he became licensed by the Mufti of Mecca. By Mufti of Mecca. What's the name of Mufti of Mecca at that time? Muslim. The name, not Imam Muslim. Yes, not Imam Muslim. His name is Muslim ibn Khalid. That's the name of the Mufti at that time, Muslim ibn Khalid. And by the way, he was from Africa. And the first two Muftis in the Haram, Ata ibn Rabah and Muslim ibn Khalid, both of them were from Africa. Subhanallah. Look at Islam. One person comes from Africa and becomes the Mufti over the people of Mecca and Quraysh. That's Islam. Islam is against racism, against discrimination. That's why our ummah will not get cured and healed from its sickness till we forget that those names that divided our ummah. I am from that place, and those from, no, they are not our people. No, they don't know about us. No, we have to be like together as Shafi'is, as Hanafis, as Malikis, and we started to cut our ummah into million and billion pieces, to the point that we forgot that we are one ummah. Allah said, وَأَنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. This ummah is one. No discrimination, no segregation in Islam. So he was licensed by Muslim ibn Khalid, the Mufti of Mecca, to do what? To give lectures. 12 years old. Subhanallah. And then when he reached to that age, 20 years old, he authorized him to issue the fatwa. To issue fatwa. Where? In Mecca. Allahu Akbar. Started 12 years old giving lectures. And even Imam Al-Shafi'i, when you see him, he looks younger than he is. So he had this baby face, and he does not have any facial hair, and even his beard was very small. Like, no, it's not. When we talk about Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmed, you have very big beard, you know. But Imam Al-Shafi'i had this baby face and small beard. Even when he started very young, and he looks younger than he is. Subhanallah. He resembles the great Sahabi Abdullah ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas also had that baby face, and subhanallah, and he even with his opinions of fiqh, he followed the steps of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. So Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah was that person who used to give lectures when he was 12 years old. And whenever anyone asks him about his age, he used to say like Imam Malik. You know Imam Malik, whenever somebody asks him about his age, he used to call him, mind your business. Means what? This like, be busy with yourself. And Imam Al-Shafi'i the same way. He said, I'm just imitating my sheikh. He used to say that, and I'm saying that too. And they asked him, why don't you answer that question? What's your age? Why don't you tell people about your age? He said, because people nowadays, when they know the age of the imam or the scholar of the sheikh, if they are older than him, they underestimate him. If they are like at the same of his age, like the youth group, they wouldn't say, you know what, he's just like us. They wouldn't appreciate him. They wouldn't show respect to him. That's why they give us like as a rule, do not tell about your age. Subhanallah. Leave it as ambiguous in your life. Don't tell your age. And subhanallah, Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, one of the funny stories that I just wanted to share with you before we finish the lecture tonight, it was just introduction. Imam Al-Shafi'i, whenever he used to give lecture, he has the leaders of Mecca, the leaders of Quraysh, the elders of Mecca listening to his lecture. And he had scholars and sheikhs, imams, those who memorized Quran, those who are teaching Quran. They used to be in his halaqah when he was 12 or 13 years old. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. If he wasn't qualified enough, they wouldn't allow him to stay there. And he is giving lectures where? In the Haram, in Mecca, subhanallah. And one day, I'm telling you this funny story before we move, inshallah, so I will leave you with a smile on your face. He was giving in Ramadan the lecture about the rules of Siyam. The rules of Siyam, when you start, what nullifies your fasting, what makes your fasting good, and how to keep your siyam safe and all this. And all of the sudden, he got a bottle of water and he started to sip some of the water. He started to drink some of the water. So that does not make any sense. They started to look at him. Imam, he was like almost like 13 or 12 years old. Imam, are you drinking water? We are in Ramadan. He said, because I didn't reach to the age of puberty yet. Yes, Allah did not ask me. He said, normally I'm fasting. Normally I fast, but it is so hot outside. I cannot continue the lecture till I get some of the sips of water. And I didn't reach to the age of puberty. So Allah did not ask me. It's not obligatory upon me to fast. Can you imagine your sheikh, your imam didn't reach to the age of puberty and you take the knowledge from him. Allahu Akbar. That's so special for Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. As I told you, when you hear about Imam Abu Hanifa, you know what? You wish like you are Hanafi. When you hear about Imam Malik, you wish if you are Hanafi. And when you hear about Imam Al-Shafi'i and his lineage, his connection with Rasulullah, and the hadith that Rasulullah mentioned about, and his vast and wide knowledge, you wish if you are Shafi'i. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower all of them with his mercy. Inshallah, next time if I got some, sips of water while I'm drinking, don't think.
That's a no, you test.
I passed already that age. Don't think that of me, alhamdulillah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless each and every one. Allahumma ameen. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khairan. We have one of the brothers wanted to special dua for Sister Shaliz ad-Din grandson. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He came to this dunya yesterday. Alhamdulillah, she had a grandson. Allah had granted her a grandson. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him amongst the righteous people. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. And by the way, alhamdulillah, I was telling my brother, yes, mashallah. And also I was telling my brother, Barakat, that alhamdulillah, my brother in Egypt, Allah had granted him his son like 2-3 days ago, and I consider my brother as my son because I raised him up, and we have big difference in between my age and his age. But subhanallah, Allah granted him his son like 2-3 days ago. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep both of them under his protection. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. And we have also brother Mu'izzuddin. Yes, of course, we remember you in our dua always, brother Mu'izzuddin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easier for you. Allahumma ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitate all your affairs. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Also, brother Fazal Hadi asking about the dua of his father-in-law. He's in the hospital. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him shifa and quick heal. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him the speed recovery. Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for his patience. Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give cure and heal for everyone is suffering and for every person is struggling in this life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise our children up on the straight path. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah forgive our sins, the minor sins and the major sins. May Allah shower all of us with his mercy. Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah gather all of us with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Jannat al-Firdaus. Ameen, ameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.